Hello and welcome to Labyrinth of the Bizarre, a podcast where we discuss, review, and analyze speculative fiction such as horror, apocalyptic, dark fantasy, and other subgenres. My name is Elia and my pronouns are they, them.
I'm Andrea and my pronouns are she, her.
And in this episode, we'll be specifically analyzing the theme of immigrants and hope in Man of Steel. We'll discuss how they reframe Superman, the immigrant allegories on Krypton and on Earth, eugenics, and Krypton supremacy, and then close with a discussion on hope. But first, I want to do some housekeeping. So, Andrea, our last episode was on Detective Pikachu, and since then, there has been a huge change in your life.
Yeah. A very, very dramatic change in my life. Where
Very
I
important.
Am a Pokemon stan, like, I'm obsessed. So I got Pokemon Shield, and I've already dedicated, like, 70 hours on the game.
Oh my god.
And I want to buy plushies.
You should. You absolutely should.
They're just so cute.
Which one?
Oh, I want to get the Score Bunny one, but also I want to get Charmander, and I have them saved. I don't remember the other ones.
Mm-hmm. It sucks because a lot of my favorite Pokemon are like have really complicated designs or not conveniently attractive. So their plushies look really ugly, and it just sucks for me. I'm lucky that Gengar has a really simple design though.
Oh, I know. I'm jealous of your Gengar plushie. But yeah, I'm obsessed. I'm gonna start playing this old one on the
Pokemon Yellow, you fool.
Pokemon Yellow.
Oh my God, it's so old.
Because Elia wants me to experience the hardship it is to level up.
Fucking, you need to understand the pain that I go through. And for me, I actually haven't brought up yet that I finished reading Jurassic Park on the podcast. Yeah, it's a really great book. Exceeded my expectations. I had to really hold myself back bookmarking it because there's just so many good discussions and stuff. Good. I still don't understand Ian Malcolm's shit.
Oh, the chaos theory or something like that?
I don't understand his chaos theory iterations that are included in the book. I kind of just like ignored those drawings because I was like, I don't care. But yeah, it's a really good book. I highly recommend it.
Oh, just really quickly, there's a new season of Camp Cretaceous.
Okay.
And they just and I already watched it all with my nieces, and they just reiterated the fact that Dr. Wu is the villain, but they hinted at a redemption arc for him in the next season. So we'll see how that goes.
With the imminent destruction of Krypton, Laura, Lor-Van, and Jor-El seek to preserve their race by sending their newborn son to Earth. As a refugee, Clark was accepted into the loving arms of the Kent family. From childhood to adult life, Clark Kent grapples with understanding his identity and his place on Earth. That is the synopsis, the pitch for Man of Steel. And it pains me that we are only focusing on certain themes for this episode, because I have like the book about the making of this movie and I read more than half of it, and I can't talk about any of it because it's mostly about world building and the thoughts the artists had in the process of making this movie. It's all really cool stuff, and I hope that we revisit this movie again someday so that I can share this information with you all, but yeah, we're focusing on very specific themes in this movie.
So for representation in the film, there's Harry Lennox and Lawrence Fishburne are both black actors.
So I wanted to start off by asking you, Andrea, what is your history with Superman?
My history with Superman is this movie.
Really?
Yeah, this is where I started to like Superman. I mean, I watched Krypton the Superdog on Boomerang. And that's like the only like superhero type show that I used to watch. Because I would yeah, but that's basically it. But when I really started liking superheroes was because of this movie.
Really?
Yeah.
This movie?
Yeah.
Not the MCU?
No.
Wow. I grew up on the Brandon Routh Superman films. I watched it multiple times, but I I literally do not remember a single thing from the movies. I know, like, the only scene I really remember is, like, him flying around the earth to, like, turn back time because Lois Lane had died. But that's pretty much it. And then I'm not sure if I watched any of the Christopher Reeve movies. And I didn't watch any of the cartoons, not even the the crypto TV show on Boomerang. But, like, despite that, Superman as a pop culture figure was very prominent in my childhood.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't really know how or why, but I think, like, the DC Trinity, Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman are just really integrated in, like, US culture and US history. So it's kind of like they will be present in your life in some form. So yeah, I wasn't, like, directly consuming Superman media, but I was aware of them.
You know who doesn't have a trifecta like that? You know who doesn't?
Marvel doesn't have a trifecta like
exactly.
that, it's very weird. It's funny how, like, people have an idea of who the main three are, but, like, it's different for every person. I definitely think because of the MCU, Iron Man and Captain America would be two of the three, but, like, the third person is always, like, it's always different for every person you ask. But I don't really know much about, like, Marvel, so I think that, like, Iron Man and Captain America even being considered one of the main three for, like, the face for that franchise, I think that's entirely because of the movies.
Yeah.
Like before that, they were definitely not the face of Marvel. But
definitely.
Yeah, why don't y'all have a trinity? That's weird. You need face characters for your franchise. Let's stop talking about Marvel. This is about DC. What are we doing?
I know.
So I first want to, like, oh my god, I need to stop starting my sentences like this. I don't know
So
any
first
other, like,
I'd like
transition words.
This is an essay.
I know, fuck. Okay, I really want to talk about how this movie reframes Superman. I really love how Zack Snyder and David Goyer interpreted Superman, because they reframed Clark away from the untouchable godlike being because the audience can't relate to that. But they also didn't make him blatantly imperfect. I remember in an interview with, like, Zack Snyder, I think, some Warner Brother executive was like, so what if Man of Steel is about how Superman loses his cape and his cape is what makes him fly, and that's what he struggles with through the whole movie because he can't find it. And
what
that's literally
heck?
like, that is nothing, bro.
What?
That was a literal suggestion from a fucking executive. This is why business people do not write movies.
Exactly.
And they should shut the fuck up.
Oh my god. Support the arts, because we don't want that.
Yeah, and I mean, the interpretation of a godlike being trying to find their place in a world with humans is significantly better than fucking losing a cape and not flying.
Oh my god. I'm so shocked. Who let that executive write Wonder Woman 84?
Oh my god, you're so right. You're so right. Yeah, and I just want to acknowledge, like, how people don't like this movie because of their interpretation of Superman, because it is a movie about immigrants, which has always been true about Superman, but I think it's, like, a perspective that is overlooked and overshadowed in all of his previous mainstream Superman content. Like, it's really focused on his identity on Earth, and, like, his heritage as a Kryptonian is just in the background. But in Man of Steel, it's entirely focused on the story of immigrants and, like, the fear that they live through each day. And you can't project patriotic American values onto character like that, the way that the audience could before with previous iterations of Superman. And, like, they see Superman through, they see Superman and hope through rose-colored glasses. I think that's the Great Gatsby phrase, right? Which basically means that that you or like an institution or a group or whatever, the perspective is to ignore the flaws of something and only look at the good parts, and that essentially makes your perspective unrealistic. Applying that to Superman, they want like a really heightened goody two shoes, and specifically they want him saving cats out of trees, a lot of smiling. They want him to be shy and flustered and have a lot of that country boy mannerisms and cheeky jokes. All of that actually is evident in Man of Steel. It's just not heightened in the way that people want it to be. It also it doesn't fit with the narrative that this movie wants to talk about, and it's just like tonally different, so it's just expressed differently. I dislike how the general public reacted to this movie, and it's really deeply rooted in the fact that they don't like Superman being an immigrant, even though that's what he is. Also, want to point out that I was one of those people.
Yeah, I was about to say it was on the tip of my tongue. I was like, weren't you one of those people?
I watched this movie in theaters, and I was like, this is not the Superman I grew up on. But also, hey, I was still in junior high, middle school, whatever you want to call it. So my critical thinking was just not present in my life. So yeah, I mean, not a great excuse, but it is what it is, I guess. You were like shaming me the whole time.
Yeah. Apparently, I've been a Man of Steel
standee
longer than you.
Yeah.
You already surpassed me by like buying everything and shit. So I remember when I watched it, I was like 14 or 15. I don't know what point of my life that was, but I watched it and I was like, that was really cool. But then I always had my brother who would explain like themes to me, so I think that's why I was able to appreciate it better, because my brother has an immigrant experience, so he was able to understand the movie and I was able to process it through him. So I was like, oh, so good, you're so right, brother.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, the adults I grew up around definitely lack critical thinking skills and endure a lot of internal racism, so definitely that shit flew over my head. Yeah, I mean, like, one of my main criticisms of this fucking movie, and it's so stupid, but you know how Superman has a little curl in his hair?
Oh my God.
I was so pissed off that it wasn't in this movie. I cannot believe I was angry about that. Like,
you were angry about that?
Yes, I didn't like that it wasn't there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, younger me.
I guess the people
so
actually
stupid.
do want a movie about Superman losing his cape. Like, that's what they
maybe
want.
They do. Maybe they do. Okay, I don't know how to transition anymore. It's been too long, dude. I only know how to do transitions in a form of an essay.
Well, you've been like in essay mode for so long.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Speaking of immigrants, I don't even know if I'm still speaking in essay mode. Oh no. But speaking of immigrants, Laura and Jor-El's sacrifice, in an act of desperation, they like send their child away to preserve their race. I just think it's really interesting how it doesn't really click with people, how that's literally like the immigrant experience, or like refugee also, because they're running away from a crisis. Like, it's always been there. And like, whenever I explain to people the plot of Man of Steel, because people don't want to watch it, right? So I just explain it to them. And after I talk about the Krypton segment, they're always like, wow, I never thought about Superman's backstory that way. And it's just like, it really shows to me how underrepresented that immigrant side of him is. Anyway, so Laura and Jor-El, they stayed behind because they felt responsible for the destruction of Krypton. And also because they want Clark to have the freedom to make his own choices. And if they had raised him, their presence and like the implications of like their culture and stuff like that would influence Clark. And the whole point of Clark being a traditional birth was to let him make his own choices. And so that was also like part of why they stayed behind. I definitely like struggled understanding that and accepting it, because I was like, I don't understand why they're staying behind.
I didn't put much thought into it, honestly. I just accepted it.
Yeah?
Yeah, until you mentioned it right now, I was like, wait, they could have gone with him.
Yeah, they could have gone with
They
him. And I
could
think that's
have.
what a lot of people think. A lot of critics are like, why didn't they just go with him? And I'm like, yeah, why didn't they just go with him? But like, it took me a while to like figure it out, and definitely needed some like clarity from other fans and from reading interviews to understand that.
I guess I accepted it more just like that, because all they were saying was like, we need to start anew, and that meant that they couldn't be part of it. It had to be like a new...
Yeah, that too. Yeah, because their presence would mean like, I think they wanted like the whole Kryptonian race to like start over and learn from their mistakes, because they're a very prideful race that, you know, eventually led to their own downfall. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff to talk about in the opening scene. Do you have anything else to talk about, Rea?
Just that I wish I got to know more about the world, because it's really cool looking.
Yeah. Dude, oh my god, the book that I have for Man of Steel,
Does it have more
the
info?
section, yeah, the section for Krypton is so long, and I was like, okay, my thought was like, why is this taking up like half of the book? And like I couldn't understand why they put so much effort into world building the opening scene, like, because we don't see Krypton outside of that scene. I didn't understand why they did that, and they explained that there was a lot of world building because they were going to use that material for like a Krypton TV show that would directly tie into the movie. And so that was Sci-Fi's Krypton show that has since been canceled after 2 seasons, unfortunately. And I also wanted to bring this up because there's some white supremacist bullshit that went on behind the scenes. So I was just like... So Ray Fisher, who plays Cyborg in Zack Snyder's Justice League, he has a huge legal case against Joss Whedon and other Hollywood artists and Warner Brothers executives for like racially motivated discrimination and harassment. And we'll talk about that in a future episode. But the investigation for his case, Ray Fisher had confidential conversations with people who also like suffered some sort of offense from like Joss Whedon and Geoff Johns. That's Geoff Johns. Jeff is heavily involved in the comic book industry as a producer and a comic book writer. And anyways, connecting it back to Sci-Fi's Krypton, Geoff Johns worked on that show. And during Ray's investigation, it was revealed that Regé-Jean Page, who was recently the breakout star for Bridgerton on Netflix, he auditioned for the role of Superman's grandfather. And by the way, the show is like years before Man of Steel. And Jean Page was denied the role because they wanted someone who looked like Henry Cavill. And basically what that meant was they wanted a white man, and it didn't make sense for a black man to play him. But the co-star who plays General Zod's relative is black. So that is completely hypocritical and like evidently a racist decision.
Oh my god. First of all, it doesn't make sense because Krypton,
it doesn't make sense.
They're producing babies scientifically.
Yeah, they're genetically made, so it doesn't matter what they look like. Yeah, and Nadria Tucker, who was a writer on Krypton, she also had a bad experience with Geoff Johns. As a black person, she wanted to accurately portray black women in the show by like frequently changing their hairstyles because that is the norm in black culture, right? And Geoff Johns was like, that's not a thing, we're not going to do it, as if like he has any authority or knowledge on like what black women do. Just,
no, hi,
God.
My name is Geoff Johns and I know that's not a thing. What is wrong with him?
It's when we revisit the Ray Fisher case in Zack Snyder's Justice League, the episode for it, it's gonna be so fucking long because, my god, white people really think they can just be racist all the time. Back to the movie, there's a scene where he saves a school bus, and then there's this really awesome conversation about consequences that comes afterwards.
I really like this scene because I feel like a lot of immigrant narratives written by non-immigrants do not think of these things. For things that people, for any of the other kids, if they had the power to save the people in the school bus, it would be like no questions asked. Like, I'll save my buddy who's drowning over there. I'll just swim over. But for Clark, who's an outsider, trying to pretend that he fits in with everybody, everything, every single decision builds up to something else that could be dangerous for him or lead up to something, him being outed as an outsider. And that's like literally the immigrant experience. Like, you cannot go to places, you cannot go to certain places because you're afraid, like, oh, I wonder if this is going to happen to me, or if somebody's going to see that I'm not like the rest of us. Maybe I won't have my ID and I need an ID to go somewhere. And it's just like, wow. These little moments that for other people might have been obvious, like for Batman, if he was an adult, then he would have been able to save those people and just do it because he's not a fucking alien. But for him, it was like very consequential and very impacting towards him and his like sense of identity. It was like, wow, I cannot be a normal person because of where I was produced, born, and where I came from.
Okay, I wanted to this line from this scene that is just like really stands out from the conversation about consequences. And Clark asks his father, "What was I supposed to do? Just let them die?" And Jonathan Kent's response is maybe. So it's like kind of going back to the theme of like choices.
Mm-hmm.
And Jonathan Kent gives Clark the space and freedom to make his own decisions, particularly about using his powers. And he admits that the world is complicated and he doesn't have all the answers. But I think people like, sort of interpret this line wrong. They don't understand like the perspective of Jonathan Kent. He is literally a father afraid of his child's life and safety. I get the implication that he understands how shitty the world is, specifically the United States, and he knows how they react to things they don't understand, to immigrants, to undocumented immigrants and refugees. And, you know, Clark is like a combination of all that. He's an undocumented and refugee and like from outer space. So he has like every right to be terrified of what will happen to his child if his identity is outed to people, particularly the government, and what they would do with his son. Like, that is like a valid, like his response was valid. And and the reoccurring criticism of this scene is that it portrays bad parenting, and that Jonathan Kent wanted children to die. And it's very frustrating that is the main takeaway from this scene, because it's very well written.
Wait, that's really what people think?
Yeah, that is a very popular criticism of this scene, that the movie is saying that Clark should have let the children die, and that his father wanted that to happen.
Like, okay. First of all, why did they? First of all, what kind of a person? The fact that he responded maybe is just him telling to Clark, like, we lived in a very fucked up place where tragically maybe is probably the correct answer. Like, maybe you should have let them die because of this terrible place we live in. Doesn't accept outsiders. Even though you were going to be a hero, maybe you shouldn't have. It's like, why would you think, like, yeah, that's about parenting. Let me call child protection services.
And I think, like, Jonathan Kent being direct with Clark, that is an appropriate approach to the topic of, like, particularly for Clark, acts of kindness and heroism. Because Clark's actions, yeah, like, they have a huge impact. And that's something that Clark needs to think about, because it's not simple as, like, it's not black and white. Like, he can't just help people and it'll be fine. There's, like, a ripple effect for Clark. And the alternative is to ignore the problem, suppress his powers and identity, or gloss over how impactful his actions are. And I think it's a good thing that Jonathan and Martha are direct about it, because regardless of whether or not you as a parent want to acknowledge a problem, your child is going to go through that crisis, and it's better and healthier to hold their hand and be there with them instead of just letting them struggle on their own. So, like, I think that how it was written, how the scene was written, was appropriate, and it was good.
Yeah. Agreed. Definitely.
I can't believe you didn't know that was a criticism of this movie.
I'm not gonna lie. I've not looked into bad criticisms of this movie. I know they exist, and I choose to ignore them.
Honestly, that is a good choice for your mental health. The criticism for DC is like... Ugh.
Yeah, because sometimes they appear in my feed, like especially when the Justice League came out.
Scroll past it.
They started to appear on my feed again, and I was like, no, thank you.
Okay, I wanted to like bring up this little fun fact about Zack Snyder, but Zack is a huge fan of Joseph Campbell, who was a professor in philosophy for comparative mythology and comparative religion. I have no idea if Joseph Campbell is like problematic, so like don't at me. But I really hope that he's not like Ayn
Okay,
Rand
no,
or
I
something
don't know
like
him.
that.
No.
Yeah, so there was a quote from Joseph Campbell that he used on a shirt for the to fundraise for the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention during the Snyder Cut campaign. And I wanted to bring it up because I feel like it's relevant specifically to Superman's arc in general. The quote goes, "All the gods, all the heavens, all the hells are within you." And so that essentially means that you are responsible for your destiny, your own life, your own happiness, your own values. And that really applies to Clark in the theme of like making choices. Because Clark has all this baggage from Krypton and his Kryptonian parents and Zod and continuing the Kryptonian species, and then also Earth and humans and his human parents, and also Clark being his own person and making choices for himself. So I feel like it's really reflective of his arc, because Clark is very focused on like having agency and morals and doing what you think is right. And also going back to people saying that this scene portrays bad parenting, he says, "Why can't I just keep pretending to be your son, right?" And then Jonathan Kent says, "You are my son." David Goyer, who is the screenwriter for this movie, he had this conversation in real life with his child because David Goyer and the Snyders are all adoptive parents. And I think it kind of sucks when people say that you're bad at parenting, specifically with adopted children, when the writers and the people who worked on the movie themselves are adoptive parents. Like, I feel like that's a really hard blow. And I just kind of wanted to give that context. It was really good. What the fuck? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, like as a queer and trans person, that just like, oof, that really hit hard, you know?
Like, I want to cry.
Accepting parents. A pipe dream. Anyways. So let's transition to an even more sad scene.
Yeah.
Jonathan Kent's sacrifice with the hurricane.
And people have the audacity to call him a bad parent.
Oh, bro, I know.
Even after watching this scene where he literally sacrifices his life so Clark doesn't have to make a choice at that moment. Mm-hmm. He makes a choice for him, like, I'm gonna sacrifice my life. Do not put more pressure on yourself. It's okay. And I'm like, oh my god!
The weight of that is just so... Oh, the weight of this scene. It's just... Oh my god. And, like, it was executed so well. Oh, man.
Superman has the same dog as me.
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
I saw him and I was like, Apollo!
No, yeah. He has a border collie in this movie and also in Zack Snyder's Justice League, right?
Yeah.
This is probably not the same dog.
Probably not.
Yeah, the scene was just really, really good and very emotional. A common nitpick that I agree with is the fact that Jonathan Kent, when he dies, he's not swept away by the hurricane. And I know that that's done for emotional impact. And in my opinion, I forgive the lack of realism because I think it earns it. Yeah, it adds to the emotional part of the scene, and also the movie is already so grounded in realism, so I think it deserves like one pass, you know? It's okay that he wasn't swept up by the hurricane. It's fine.
I have no understanding of how hurricanes work, so that didn't even...
So it didn't even register in your
nope.
head? Bro, like Rhea, in the movie you could see all the cars and stuff being swept
I don't
up.
know how it works on humans though.
Hello? What do you
Oh yeah, you have to
mean?
understand. I'm really knowledgeable about certain things, but other things I don't know anything about. And
Okay, have you never watched The Wizard of Oz?
no.
I don't know if that's a tornado. I don't know the difference between them, but
Okay.
yeah. I don't know. Listen, I don't understand the difference between them, but I understand in general how they work.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same thing as what you're going through right now, Rhea. Do not group me with you.
It was all realism to me.
Okay, whatever.
Okay.
Also part of the scene because Clark recalls this memory to Lois, and because of that story, Lois ultimately understands why she needs to drop releasing a story about Clark. And I love that through Lois, the audience learns why. And this is a story that doesn't need to be told, because I think a lot of people would want the fame and accomplishment, especially for Lois, who is like a Pulitzer Prize winner journalist, right? She has every incentive to release an article with evidence that aliens exist. So using Lois as a narrative tool for the audience to go through that thought process it's just a really good thing, a really good decision that David Goyer did. And unfortunately, it sort of like flew over some people's head because there's still this like, well, Clark could have just saved his father. It was a pointless sacrifice. And it's like, I don't understand if you're watching this movie because like it's very plainly telling you why he cannot save his father in this scene.
I love that. That what's his name? Is Perry White? Oh, Perry White.
Yes.
He was just waiting for Lois to come to this conclusion.
Yeah, I love that he already understood it.
He was like, about time, Lois. I thought you were smarter than this.
Yeah. I put in our notes, LOL Lois in the John Hammond phase. Is it John Hammond?
Yeah.
From Jurassic Park?
Yeah.
Because, like, she wants to do something and it's like
I'm
no,
gonna do
you
it.
shouldn't pursue it. Okay, so now we will circle back to Clark being an immigrant refugee. He discovers his heritage and finds out that he is not the last Kryptonian in like multiple scenes in this part of the movie.
So, one thing that I do question. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we discussed that Clark Kent's parents, the ones from Krypton, they stayed for a reason. But for all the other people in the corrupt planet, why didn't they leave?
Because they're too proud to
if
admit. I think of it
okay.
the way that our current world right now is in denial about global warming and refuses to do anything about it, because that's essentially what happened on Krypton.
Okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah, I know. Like, just suck up
say.
your pride and admit that you were wrong to save your life, but I guess not. Like, they were too proud to admit that they fucked up.
Because I was, like, just thinking, like, they sent the other people off of the planet, the ones who were being banished for that uprising.
Oh my fucking god, yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? Why would you let them live?
No, the fact that, I'm not sure if we're gonna talk about this later, but like the fact that they are so like dedicated to their like cultural practices that they will spend time banishing people into the Phantom Zone as like punishment
As they're dying.
Yeah, instead of like trying to save their fucking planet. Are you fucking kidding me?
That's why they didn't want to come with Clark. They were like, we're too fucked up.
I don't even think they would want to admit their mistakes even to their last breath. Like, man, those people, they were that is very reflective of our current culture. I honestly thought you were going to ask about the Kryptonian ship.
Oh, no, I understood that. They used to have, like...
Scouts.
Like, little posts in different planets and shit. I understood that. I was confused while watching the movie, but when I rewatched it again the other day, I was like, no, that's...
Yeah,
they
I'm still a little confused, but, like, I get the general idea. The history lesson scene looks cool as hell. I like how, it's, like, it's futuristic, but not, like, the stereotypical, like, futuristic holograms, like, in Star Trek and Star Wars. It's like unique to Krypton. It looks cool. I liked how it looked. I don't actually remember most of what happened in the history lesson though. I'm too distracted by the visuals. I have to like rewatch it every time. Like, just to stray off from what we are supposed to talk about, I kind of wanted to talk about the origin of the ship. So there was a prequel comic for this movie. Kara Zor-El, aka Supergirl, was on the scout ship, and something happened, and the ship crashed on Earth. It's not explicitly said, but when Clark visits the Kryptonian ship, like one of the life tubes is opened, you know?
Yeah.
So there is a theory that Kara survived and is out there somewhere. And I just wanted to, like, you know, push in the fact that Sasha Calle, oh shit, I do not know how to pronounce that last name. Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Sasha Calle, a Colombian American actor.
Oh wait, is this the one you told me about?
Yeah, she is confirmed to play Supergirl in The Flash.
Fuck it up. Fuck it up.
She's so adorable. I cannot wait to see her in the suit. But
sad.
Fine print.
Interact with Henry.
Fine print. I'm not happy about how she's being introduced into this movie. She is playing Supergirl in The Flash, and the Flash solo movie is like a alternate universe traveling movie. So it's unclear whether or not this Supergirl is in another alternate universe or if she's in this universe. I know that it's implied that they're using the Flash solo film to like reboot the universe to sort of avoid confronting the Ray Fisher case. So there's a lot of like context behind that. I'm not going to talk about it on here. We'll get to it when we can, when we do talk about the Flash. But yeah, I don't like it, obviously because of the racism behind this, but also I just don't think Supergirl should be introduced in a Flash solo film. This whole movie is about Superman connecting back to his heritage, right? I think it's more impactful to introduce Supergirl in the second movie, because the arc throughout Man of Steel 1 is Clark wanting to connect with his heritage and not having access to it, and then finding out about it through like an AI of his father, and then finding out that there are other Kryptonians, and then going through the loss of having to fight them and kill the last remaining one because of their like Kryptonian supremacy mindset. So introducing Supergirl in like a second Man of Steel movie is more impactful because he gets to reconnect with his cousin and, you know, have like a positive introduction and connection to his heritage. And so introducing Supergirl in like a Flash solo film, that's not it. Like, we shouldn't do that. So I'm not really happy about how they're introducing her, but it is what it is. And also, I think she's going to do a really good job. And she's probably... No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to manifest it into the universe.
No.
I'm not going to say it into the... Nope. Shh. I'm not going to say it.
God. We can't have one shit. No shit for us.
We can't be happy if you're the DC fandom. But anyway, so Superman's first flight, that really fucking awesome scene. Hello. Why are you giggling?
Because I'm thinking about how cool the Superman first flight scene was and how they attempted to do that.
Oh.
In Wonder Woman 84. And how it sucked. Anywho, we're not talking about that movie again.
Okay, so do you want to talk about this movie?
It's a very cool scene. Amazon Prime told me that Superman is not supposed to fly, that he actually hops around.
Amazon told you that? Was it like in the little fun facts?
Yeah.
You have that up?
Yeah. Well, no, I think I paused it around that
Okay.
area, around that time frame, and it tells you when you paused.
Yeah. I hate that feature. Like, it's such a good feature, but like I always get distracted by it because I'm reading it.
Yeah.
Because it's like actually really great information. And I can't focus on the movie and also the information at the same time. Yeah, the Superman, like, maybe, like, the movie should have been about how he can't hop high enough, and, like, that's, like, his struggle through the movie, you know?
Oh, he needs his cape to
Yeah,
hop
because,
further.
like, his cape, like, gives him, like, balance, and he couldn't find his cape. like Lex Luthor stole it, and like how is
no.
he gonna like hop really high and like fly around? Fuck, man.
Oh, I hate that. I absolutely hate the voice you just did.
I feel like I could do it more stuck up. I need to do it better.
Practice, I guess.
Yeah, I'll just do this casually in conversations. Superman's first flight. It's a very emotionally charged scene. I think flight in movies, like in general, is very boring, especially because like when you're flying, you know, you're kind of just like your body's like in a straight line, so it's kind of hard to like move the body and angle it in a way that's interesting if that scene is going to be for like a very long time. But it was handled very well in this movie, considering that the build-up and the flying is like 3 minutes long, which I didn't know, but like I was like curious about it, and I was like looking at it and I was like, oh shit, this is really long. But it was never boring to me, and it's also very visually pleasing.
It's really 3 minutes long?
Yeah, it's really that long. Well,
Wow.
also like including like the build-up of him like walking around and like building up to flying.
Still doesn't feel like that.
Yeah, it doesn't feel 3 minutes long. It's very funny how, like, sorry to bring this up again, but Wonder Woman 1984, that flight scene was so short and so fucking boring.
Oh god, worst experience of my life.
Also, like, it's emotional because this is him connecting to his culture. The Superman suit is not just a super suit, because it's part of his culture, it's part of his cultural identity. So like the scene is more than him flying for the first time, it's him connecting with a culture that he didn't have access to before, and that's why it's emotional and impactful in comparison to Wonder Woman 1984. I'm so sorry to bring it up again, but they made the attempt. I see the attempt.
Now I'm all thinking about Wonder Woman. No.
Yeah, so eugenics and Kryptonian supremacy.
Yeah.
That's a lot to unpack. Let's talk about Zod.
You know what I think is interesting about Zod? That he's specifically shown as like, oh, he's a military guy in, what's it called? Krypton? And so we're supposed to understand that his ideals are wrong. He, as a military guy who thinks that everything is fixed through force and shit like that. But fast forward to Earth, when it's time for them to turn in Superman in, who does everybody resort to? The fucking military too. What's wrong with society?
Yeah, that is the SMH. Lost my train of thought.
Sorry, that was very random. I was just thinking about that a lot.
No, yeah, I really wish that military propaganda wasn't existent in Hollywood, but it's there and I don't like it. Oh god, I think I'd like, hold on. My nose is like plugged. Hold on. It's so cold in San Francisco, Rea. Oh my god.
You know what? Shut up. You have no right to complain to me. We've been in like a heat wave.
Oh no.
We've been in a heat wave and it's been like 105 for like 5 days.
It's so cold. I never sweat. It's so cold enough to wear like 3 layers and hide under my blanket. Oh my god, what a struggle. Rhea's gonna like end the call.
Over yourself.
Rhea's gonna end the call for me like bullying them.
Ever since you moved to San Francisco, you became insufferable with the weather conversation.
No, yeah, I did. I've only been here like 2 years.
Every time summer comes around, you're an ass.
Yeah, military. Anyways, so we already brought up like his banishment to the Phantom Zone and the Kryptonian High Council just being hypocritical and blinded by their fucking egos. But Zod, in general, he is like he's a disciplined military general who was literally genetically created for the sole purpose of protecting his people. And the flip side of like hope and the actions one would take to get their desired outcomes, Zod wants to restore Kryptonian life, and he has the ability to achieve that and is willing to do whatever it takes. So his methods are like extreme and questionable, but like as a villain, not that compelling for me.
No,
I just really love, like, I don't know, like I think that, I mean, I get it, Krypton supremacy, whatever, but I mean, like, when you see Lex Luthor in Batman v Superman, it's kind of, like, hard to compare him. Like, he's just, like, so low in comparison to, like, what villains could be.
He did the best he could.
Yeah, the actor's fine, but I don't know, his motivations were kind of not enough for me.
I think it's difficult with the Krypton they created in this movie to get a multifaceted villain, especially since they are literally genetically made to have one purpose and one job in society. So for him, like, he can't have any personal motivation. It's all for his people. That's it.
There's, like, going back to, like, that choices theme, he has, like, no free will. It's, like, literally ingrained into him to only care about protecting Krypton in, like, a military perspective. Which is why, like, when he was going to the Phantom Zone, he was, like, going through the somatic reconditioning, which was basically, like, cellular restructuring his blah, blah, blah. Science restructuring cells. I don't really understand what that means, but changing his genetics so that he is no longer supposed to be like a disciplined military general. So talking about Zod again, I think comparing Zod and Jor-El is really interesting because I don't think either of them are good people. Zod wants to like wipe out humans, and Jor-El, I don't really like understand him sometimes. Like every time I watch him, I'm like,
either.
Bro, what the fuck? Like sometimes I think he perceives Kryptonians as superior, and he wants his son to guide them to perfection, which is a very much a Christian allegory here. And like it's intentional that like Jor-El is not necessarily a good person either. So like I don't think that was like an agenda they were trying to push. But like Jor-El, I don't know, like he thinks that Clark can unite all peoples in like hope instead of being united out of fear and bigotry, which is like it's very Jesus allegory. And like because like Zod is very evidently a Krypton supremacist, but I think Jor-El is also kind of like that, and I think that's also why he felt motivated to stay behind and not influence his son. But I'm so glad you also got that vibe from him, dude. Like that he was off.
Yeah.
Because like I'm like I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about this character.
Yeah, I just don't enjoy him.
Like it's
because I don't understand him.
I don't understand him.
So it's difficult for me to be like, oh yeah, that's a cool character. Especially when you put both of Clark's dads next to each other, you're like, oh, well, obviously his human one.
Yeah, obviously.
Like he has, but like for this one, it's just like, okay.
Like I don't know, like every time he talks about Clark, it's like he perceives his child as like a figure instead of like a person, and also his son. Like it's very detached emotionally from Clark, in my opinion.
It's, for me, I could see how it was intended to be like a God and Jesus moment where God sent his son to save the people. And it's like, maybe because we're both religiously ambivalent, I think. We both can't understand him because it's just like, okay, so you think you're better than us.
No, yeah, like I think like Zod and Jor are both Krypton supremacists, but like in a different way.
Yeah.
Zod doesn't want humans at all. He wants Kryptonians only. But yeah, like Jor-El is kind of like, these people are inferior and you will guide them to the light. I'm like, okay,
basically.
buddy.
That is very colonial with religion. Everything the Spanish did to like the Philippines, to the indigenous people in America, to everybody else, in which they're like, our religion is better and is gonna save your life. You weren't in danger in the first place, but it's gonna save you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I think that I don't know, like, yeah, he's weird. He's really off.
Don't fuck with him.
He's really off. Not necessarily like a...
You have one dad, Clark.
Yeah. Yeah, not him.
That's an AI.
True, that is an AI.
That's your dad.
Yeah, but I appreciate that they didn't make him, like, black and white. Like, he is a good person because he is your father and your connection to your culture. I like that they kind of, like, made it more muddy and, like, hey, he's also kind of not a good guy. And also Fa Raul, who is kind of like the right-hand man of General Zod, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, when she fights over in Yeehaw, Kansas, like, that's a good fight scene. I love that.
That is a good fight scene.
She has like this speech about like how Clark is inferior because he mingled with us humans, you know, and he isn't educated on Kryptonian culture. And she says like evolution always wins, which is wrong. Your perception of evolution is wrong and hypocritical. It is about their how they perceive evolution. It's about conservatism, which like that is very reminiscent of American ideals.
Mm-hmm. Isn't technically Clark the evolution of them? So why wouldn't okay, I don't know if I'm explaining myself correctly. So, from where they are in society, Clark being so different from them means he's the next evolution. Possible evolution. You know, like in Pokemon, how there's possible evolutions for Eevee? He's one of the possible evolutions.
What? Did I just hear a Pokemon metaphor? What?
So, when she said evolution always wins, she's not considering him as a possible future for them. Like, she's considering him, like, as something else. So it shows, like, how evolution, their interpretation of evolution is different.
Yeah, yeah.
Like what you were saying, I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, like,
Superman's an Eevee.
Stop. Like,
no,
I'm
sorry.
just, like, so, like, because they say evolution, right? But, like,
yeah,
it's not, because you're just trying to preserve what you have. And, like, connecting it back to what I said about conservatism and American ideals, it's like, it's kind of like how people are like, we need to go back to when our country was great. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you were trying to preserve something that was not even there, or it was there for a very specific group of people, which are, you know, white supremacists. And, like, the whole agenda that Zod's team, I don't really know what the word is for military stuff, but his group of people, they're trying to restore Krypton to what it once was before, but, like, you can't do that, and if you did, it's not gonna work, because they want it from what it was before Krypton was destroyed, right? But you have to take into account that, like, your planet was fucking destroyed, and you have to reassess how your society functions and, like, your morals and stuff like that. So it, like, even if Zod did restore Krypton on Earth, it's not gonna even be how he wants it to be. So, like, he would just remain unhappy, I think.
Yeah.
Or maybe he just wants, like, the people to be revived, I guess. But, like, it like, Krypton itself, actually no, he's not just concerned about Kryptonians. He's like, he's genetically modified to care about the people and the planet, I guess. But yeah, like, it wouldn't even be, like, he wouldn't be able to reach his goal anyway, because it doesn't work that way. It reminds me of COVID. Like, okay, no, listen.
How so? Wait, how so?
Listen. Okay, so it's the way that people are like, oh, after COVID, right?
Oh.
So people's perception of how COVID is going to quote unquote end, meaning that when we get back to, like, sorry, let me rephrase that. I specifically mean people's perspective of, like, post-COVID, how we can quote return to normal. You can't return to normal because, like, emotionally and, like, as a society, we have learned and adapted from COVID that we cannot revert back to pre-COVID. There are changes that are irreversible, whether it is continuing to socially distance or, like, improved and enhanced safety regulations, or if you want to continue wearing masks, like, that sort of thing. Like, we are not going to revert back to pre-COVID. And so that's kind of how I feel about him, Zod, and his plan to get Krypton back is how I feel oh my god, it reminds me of how people perceive COVID.
Yes. No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I see it, and I understand it.
Thank you. Yeah, it was very random, but I'm glad it makes sense. There's a line, really quick. There's a line where Jor-El says, "We're both ghosts, Zod." And I'm like, wow, what a line. Because they are.
Oh, before I forget. This was also a line spoken between Zod and Jor-El, okay? Mm-hmm. So I think this is in the beginning, and they're talking about how Jor-El had a son. And he describes the son by saying, "I had a son, a boy child." And let me tell you, that single line has been pushing me through these few weeks. It's the funniest thing I've ever heard. Do you find it funny?
No.
Or is that just
me? That is just you.
No!
I don't understand. What's funny about it?
He calls him a boy child. What is that?
I don't know. A child that's a boy.
He had already said son. He's like, a boy child. Like, okay. Repeat it again, I guess.
Wait, when did he say this?
In
the beginning, right?
When...
In the opening?
Huh?
Opening
yes,
scene?
In the beginning. Zod and him are talking about how they're gonna save the planet. And he's like, I had a son. A boy child. Or something like that.
I don't know. Maybe he just, like, had to say it again to get it through Zod's head?
Probably, but in that moment when I was watching the movie, I couldn't stop laughing. I had to pause it, and I was like, that's the weirdest phrasing ever.
That's true. I mean, yeah, yeah. It's
Maybe it's because to them those words are not used as much anymore or something. Like he had to explain it in a different way, but I don't know.
I wonder if, like, because children are genetically modified and created, like, maybe they have, like, sort of, like, attachment differences, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you have a child, but you don't think of them, you don't have, like, an emotional attachment to them.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why he had to, like, reiterate what he was saying.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so much about Krypton lore that I wish we could, like, explore.
I want to know the reason for this line.
Just this line. I'm talking about
explain the world building so I can understand.
I think that's so that's so interesting to, like, explore. I wish the show wasn't discontinued. I didn't watch it yet, so I don't even know if it even explores the lore the way I want it to. But so let's talk about immigrants again and how people treat Clark as an immigrant.
So this part, when they find out that there's an alien living among them, we're basically shown that, what's his name? Jonathan? Is that his name? Jonathan was right. And that people were going to, in fact, teach him differently. Treat him differently. But you could have asked any other immigrant in the world about that. But okay, anywho, back to the story. The film shows how immediately, like, the world is, like, looking for this man and trying to find everything about him. And they're immediately, like, looking for, like, oh, Lois knows who it is. Like, we need to get her. And the military is sent after her in order for her to, like, reveal who he is. It's just, like, very dramatic and, like, violent in a way. Because it's, like, they're so desperate that they don't even consider anything else. They're like, we had to find him and turn him in
immediately
in order to save humanity.
I think, like, it says a lot that people's immediate reaction was to sacrifice Clark for their own safety, because they do not view him as, like, quote, one of us. And like, yeah, Jonathan Kent was right, and, like, that cruelty is more in Batman versus Superman, but, like, that alone, it says a lot about how people treat immigrants. And that is a point that is made through, like, multiple perspectives, because Clark has been here for, like, more than 2 decades, because he's, like, 25-ish years old or whatever.
And nobody has said shit.
And he has never made himself known. He hasn't done anything for personal gain. He has never harmed anyone. Ugh. He has never harmed anyone, but, like, humans do not care about his life and safety. And I think that is, like, direct commentary on Western societies and how we completely disregard the lives of people because we perceive them as different from us.
Yeah. It shows what lives matter and which ones don't.
Absolutely.
Depending on birthplace, apparently.
And I think it's baffling because as, like, audience members, we also get the context of what he's done throughout his life. Like, his adult life is spent living off grid and barely meeting his basic necessities so that he can focus on, like, helping people in situations that are beyond human capacities. So like we know that he's a good person, and it's like frustrating for us as the audience, and that's like done intentionally.
Yeah. And it's just like, it shows how people need to see things in order to believe that he could be a good person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the first instance for them is to place doubt on him.
Yeah.
And see him as a threat instead of, like, a possible ally.
Clark is aware of that because Jonathan Kent, like, taught him that since he was a child. And I think it's really interesting how they portray that throughout the movie. Like, Clark surrenders multiple times and shows, like, submissive, non-threatening behavior.
Yeah.
And, like, immediate trust with the humans. Like, literally not a drop of doubt around them. And in turn, like, I hate that he has to, like, earn their trust.
Yeah.
The scene where he, like, fights with the General Zod squadron or whatever over in Smallville, right?
Yeah, I remember
he protects the civilians and soldiers, and like even after all that, the soldiers point their fucking guns at him, and like I think that says a lot about how marginalized people will do the labor for being nice and supportive of people, including their oppressors. And yet their oppressors will literally turn around and point a fucking gun at them.
Literally, like, wasn't there a line where it says, like, one of the generals says, like, shoot them all, and then one of the smaller soldiers says, like, even the blue one? And he's like, yes,
yeah,
all of them. It's just like, he's protecting
He's
you.
literally helping you. And, like, still, you do not care about immigrants. Like, it's like, this is so reflective of our society.
Literally.
Reminds me about a lot of immigrant experiences in the Western countries.
Yeah.
It's like so many.
Especially here, how they go to specifically, like, low-income schools, high schools, to recruit the immigrants.
Oh, yeah, for the military.
Yeah. And it's just like, oh, okay. So that's when you want.
Yeah, my first thought is, like, people of color working in farming fields, and how like produce is a huge source of income in California. Like, we are like the farming state, and yet like we treat immigrants so poorly when they are the ones who work on there, and we perceive them so negatively in the media and the way we interact with them. And it's just like, wow, this is exactly how it is in the movie.
It's so funny because California is seen like the super progressive, like, oh, state where, like, we have so much produce and stuff like that, but, like, almost all the produce is being grown and picked are because of Mexican and Filipino workers. And it's just like, okay, nobody's saying anything about them. We focus on LA and white tech areas in San Francisco.
Yeah, and a lot of the farms are like rich white people. Like,
oh yeah, definitely.
Like, I just remember, like, in schools, like, the agricultural classes are so white dominated by these rich white kids who own farms, and they have so much knowledge about farming but have never actually done any of the work, and they're just inheriting farms and companies. Oh, General Swanwick, right? So this is spoiler for Zack Snyder's Justice League, by the way. So, like, skip like a good minute, I guess, or a little more than a minute. So there's like a retcon. General Swanwick is Martian Manhunter. It's revealed in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Zack Snyder actually didn't intend for General Swanwick to be Martian Manhunter, but it fits really nicely with the lore that's already set in Man of Steel. Like, in the scene where Superman surrenders, right? And there's that, like, what's it called when you can only see through one window and not, like, both sides?
I think it's just called, like, a
one-way window.
Window, yeah.
General Swanwick is the only human that doesn't back away from the window when Clark approaches, which, like, people are like, oh, maybe it's like, because, like, obviously Zack Snyder didn't intend for this to happen, but it really fits because it's like Martian Manhunter is also an alien. He didn't feel, like, threatened, and so his immediate response wasn't to back away from the window. And there's also, like, this parallel on the screen where General Swanwick is looking at Superman, and then it flips to Superman looking at himself because it's a one-sided window. So it looks like a human looking at an alien, and then, like, an alien looking at an alien. Which is, like, really funny and really cool.
Oh man, that's nice. That's
yeah,
cool.
like, it fits so, like, perfectly with what's already set in stone in Man of Steel and BVS. I don't like that he's a general, though. I don't like that we have a superhero that is a military general.
Oh, I know.
But we can unpack that in the episode for Zack Snyder's Justice League. I just want to bring that up now. There's also a line that I really like. It's really cute. It's between Superman and Lois, and Lois, oh no, sorry, not Lois. Wait, it is Lois. Lois is talking about how, so the context for this scene is like Superman is turning himself into General Zod, and Lois is like referencing how she kept his identity a secret, and Lois says it didn't make much difference in the end, and then Clark says it did to me, and like yeah.
So fucking cute. I love you.
That trust, oh, that's so cute. I love that.
I love them.
I do love them, but I also love Batman and Superman, and I just have to say that.
I wasn't gonna say it because I knew you were gonna bring up Superbat, but I was like, fuck it.
Yeah, I have to like, asterisk, I also like Superbat.
I wanted to ask a question.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Is there anything like in the Superman comics or lore that showed that the S meant something else before? Or is it something new from Zack Snyder that it meant hope instead of the S for Superman? You know what I mean?
I'm pretty sure that it's also in comic lore. Like, I'm pretty sure that's canon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember watching that for the first time and I was like, oh, that's funny. It's just an S. It can't possibly mean anything else.
I think, I mean, like, we can probably check later, but I'm pretty sure it's already, like, in canon, because the joke of Lois saying it here on Earth, it's an S, right? It feels like a very, like, tongue-in-cheek joke that's, like, poking at, like, the Superman lore in, like, a funny way. So I feel like that, like, implies that it was already built into the story, but yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Sometimes I just, like, there are things that I just don't question anymore because they're just so built into the franchise.
Well, I didn't question the hurricane thing.
No. Sometimes I don't question things about, like, the lore of a character. Because,
I don't
like,
question things about Earth lore.
Earth lore? Excuse me?
Okay, moving on.
Earth
back to hope.
Lore?
I said back to hope.
Hey. Tell me some stuff about Earth lore, Rea. What do you know? Hey, did you know that our Earth has, like, multiple layers? Do you know about that Earth lore?
Yeah. Do you know that there's, like, bones buried underneath?
Yeah, did you know that? Did you
dirt?
know that, like, there's an Earth lore conspiracy that dinosaurs live in the center of the Earth? Did you know about that?
Do you know that some people think the Earth is flat? That's lore.
Yeah. Stupid. I can't believe you just said Earth lore.
Shut up. I couldn't think of the word, and you had just said lore, so I used it too.
Facts?
Facts. Okay, back to hope.
Okay, Hope, yeah. I don't even know how we... Oh, wait, never mind. I remembered. Yeah, Hope. Clark is supposed to represent the embodiment of hope, not just with the house name, but, like, him being the first natural birth in centuries, and also being the codex, the little key to the hope of preserving Kryptonians and their culture, right? So he has a lot of, like, he is really layered in terms of, like, portraying hope in this movie. And
Yes.
I think that all the characters, like, within all of them, there is a presence of hope, which I want to talk about because a lot of critics say that this movie lacks hope.
Huh?
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
I'm giving you space to say anything, but if you don't have anything to say...
Right now I'm just gonna be like, wow, because I'm, like, thinking of all the instances.
Oh, no, yeah.
That, like, hope.
Talk about the instances.
Like, okay, first of all, the fact that at the end, the scene where he's like, oh, I'm trusting you on this, like, I know you'll get it done because I trust you. And I felt like that was hopeful for the future, that there's going to be a better relationship between outside figures and government, obviously military things. And then...
Yeah, you're right. I didn't think about that. But yeah, definitely building, like, a relationship between the humans and immigrants is, like...
And there's more in the movie, but, like, that's the one I'm remembering right now.
I mean, like, obvious one is that Clark helps people in secret. Like, he literally cannot help it, despite knowing the consequences.
Like that scene with that girl?
Yeah, the one in the cafe, right?
Yes.
Oh my god. Do you know the controversy surrounding that sexual harassment scene?
About the truck that people say that Superman wouldn't do that?
Yeah.
Fuck. Of course he would. Of course he would.
No. But the other one is that they say that this isn't their Superman because it was too harsh and that's his livelihood and that he didn't deserve it.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
I think maybe sexual predators shouldn't be a fucking sexual predator. I think that should be what the perspective is here.
Oh my god.
Did you know that the like universal consensus in terms of like random side characters throughout like the DCEU, the sexual predator, people defend all the time because apparently Superman was too harsh. But and then in Batman versus Superman, in Batman's introduction, there is a sex trafficker and people defend him also. And then in Zack Snyder's Justice League, the terrorists in France or Britain, I'm not really familiar with the landscape, but people also defend the terrorists and say that they shouldn't have died. I think it's really weird how people latch on to like these people who have made very bad decisions and
that's
like
wild.
defend
They're
them.
projecting. They're projecting.
Yeah.
Oh
That
my
seems so
god.
good. Yeah, I know. It's so weird. Buddy, I think he deserves his truck getting destroyed.
Yeah. Good for Superman.
Yeah, there's so many things I want to
support
say
for you.
about the scene, but like I can't talk too nope. I can't
Wow.
talk too much. Sorry, listen. Sometimes when I talk to my sister, I just do it and it like stays with me for a couple of days. But anyway, there's so many things I want to say about the scene, but it's like not relevant to the Hope thing. Oh, I'm so sad that I can't just talk about
We'll have another
things.
future episode on it.
There's just so many things, Rea. You don't understand.
You can have total control over an episode. Like complete utter control. I'll listen to you talk about Man of Steel.
Yeah, let's just like have Man of Steel up and just like go scene by scene and I'll just say shit.
Let's do it.
Yeah, okay, so also in like relevant to Hope, Clark, there's a scene where Clark goes to a priest for guidance.
Oh yeah.
And people say there were no American ideals in this iteration of Superman. But like there's like religious symbolism in that scene, but personally I just really like the idea of like a godlike being going to a priest for guidance because like it's really humbling and it's nice. Directly related to like Superman and Hope. There's a line where he says, Zod can't be trusted. The problem is, I'm not sure if the people of Earth can be either. Which,
boom,
mic drop. And then the priest says, sometimes you have to take a leap of faith first. The trust part comes later. And like, that's just a really good line.
Oh.
What?
Two of my favorite superheroes have that leap of faith scene.
Oh, yeah, I know. Miles Morales, yeah. The actor who plays Lara, Clark's Kryptonian mother, in the Man of Steel book, she mentions a Nelson Mandela quote. It's, our worst fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure, which basically means that it's easy to think that we cannot achieve or do something that is out of our capacity. What we actually fear is the truth that we actually can do this, and the only thing holding us back is ourselves. And I think that really speaks to the journey of Clark throughout this movie. Clark having the ability and power to do anything and like simultaneously feeling powerless because he knows that there are consequences. And of course that quote resonates with more than just Clark. It could be said for all of the characters in this movie and in all the DCU films, because Clark's hope has a huge impact on other people, which is evident in Batman, The Flash, Shazam, etc. And connecting it back to the theme of hope is when, like, in the face of desperation and fear and tragedy, people hope that things will get better. And despite not having superpowers, they see that they have the power to achieve that. In the third act of this movie, we see that happening because Superman inspires hope in other characters. The highlight for me, like when the city is like being destroyed, we have like the POVs of the Daily Planet employees. Jenny gets stuck under the rubble, and like despite the odds of living, Perry White and the other guy, sorry, I don't remember his name, they stay to help her out. And I think it's a really good scene. It's very emotional. I really like it. And I also think it's essential to have like civilian perspectives in a big crisis to like ground us in reality when there's like fucking aliens and spaceships. I don't know, I just like, honestly, this scene overshadows like Superman's scenes during this fight, in my opinion, just because I feel like it is so impactful and shows so much human emotions and like really ties in with the theme of this movie, because like there is no fucking way that Jenny should have survived, right?
Yeah.
And like they definitely could have like ran and tried to save themselves, but like they stayed for her. And I feel like, I don't know how to describe that, but it's just really emotional seeing that, and I really loved it.
Well, it basically is another instance of hope.
Yeah.
This time for humans, like that they could also
Yeah.
improve as a society where Kryptonites couldn't.
Kryptonians.
Okay, whatever. Kryptonians couldn't.
Also, hey, big kudos that scene wasn't like a random parent and child, because that is people's go-to for quickly getting sympathy from the audience. It was random
coworkers. That makes it even more impactful.
Well, I mean, but like they also were built in throughout the story as well. There are definitely like movies who just like literally bring a parent and child just for that scene.
That's true. That is true.
They do it in Godzilla.
Oh.
I don't like that. It's a weak writing tactic. Another example of hope is with like Dr. Emil Hamilton, the person who in the ship, he like does the bomb thing. I don't know what to fucking call it. But he sacrificed himself. And then also Colonel Hardy, he also sacrifices himself in that same scene. And I think they were really influenced by Clark's trust in them and hope. Like I said earlier, knowing you have the power to do something difficult is hard for people to confront. And I think that Clark, he influenced them and inspired them to, you know, fucking have a part in stopping Zod and his Kryptonian soldiers from destroying the Earth.
So one of my favorite moments in the film was when Lois sees Superman and he looks like Bigfoot walking in the background.
What?
And he looks like Bigfoot and he's walking around in the background. I think it's hilarious. I'm sorry.
Oh, wait, in the snow?
Yes, in the snow.
Oh my god.
That's my funny moment. But my serious moment where it gets me all in my feelings was Superman's face in the ending when he realizes that the only way to stop Zod is to kill him, and the emotional distraught that he's going through. It's very sad. But Bigfoot Superman is also very funny.
Do you know that scene? Do you know the criticism of that scene?
What? There's a criticism for that too?
Yeah, people think that Clark should not have killed Zod, and the act of killing him shows that Clark has like murderous tendencies.
What the fuck? It was the only way to stop him.
It was literally the only way to stop him. I don't
know.
Let
Superman kill.
And like he didn't enjoy it. Like I don't know why people think that. Like
did they not see his face? His hesitation?
Yeah. Like the entire movie is him reconnecting with his heritage, and it ends with him witnessing the last Kryptonian alive wanting to commit mass murder because like of his false hope that he can restore Krypton. And the only way to stop him is to kill him. And like that is huge emotionally. Like I don't hello? It's so fucking heartbreaking. I can't comprehend how some people perceived that scene as like him getting a slight enjoyment of killing someone. my poor boy. Stay away from him.
Critical thinking skills in society.
Yeah, they are a 13-year-old me. Or maybe I was 12, I don't know.
That's excused. You were a child.
Dude, honestly, I like, okay, so the part with like the terraforming machines, I like zone out every single time. I think it's so boring. I'm so sorry. But I just cannot get into it. That's like the part of the movie that I just like, my brain taps out.
It's not super interesting.
Yeah.
With everything else that's going on, I know that's like the big scary thing that's happening.
Yeah.
But like
my brain starts paying attention during the Daily Planet employee scenes, and then like really picks up when Zod's the last one left. Yeah, a highlight for me, like, okay, like I said, flight in movies is really fucking boring. So like flying and fighting kind of like scares me. But like I think it was done pretty well, keeps your attention, and it's like interchanging between like being on the ground. Well, okay, you don't have to be on the ground to make this fight interesting, but I think that I don't know how to express what I'm trying to say or what I'm thinking, but it basically it's a good fight. Also, like, okay, so there's a part in the fight where Superman's flying with his fist raised and he's about to like punch Zod. So there are parallels throughout the 3 Zack Snyder movies with Superman in that exact position, and it's like really cool if you put them all, the 3 of them together. It's like Superman punching Zod and then Superman holding the spear to pierce Doomsday, and then for ZSJL it's Superman about to punch Steppenwolf. But yeah, if you play them together, or if you find a gif of the 3 of them together, it looks really cool, and like it's exactly like lined up the way that like they're like exactly lined up, similar to each other, so it just looks really awesome. Also, okay, another thing that I really liked about this movie, how it ends is so adorable.
Oh yeah,
yeah, how Lois is like, welcome to the planet, but it's like layered because
so
like
cute.
Clark's an alien. And I'm like, bro, that's so funny, are you fucking kidding me?
I forgot about that scene. I don't know how.
There's so many like subtle jokes throughout this movie. Like, I think people just don't know how funny these movies are. It's just a different type of humor. But it's so cute. I love that it ends that way. It's like perfect. So Rea, what are your overall thoughts on Man
I
of
love
Steel?
this movie a lot.
Longer than me.
Longer than Elia, but I don't think as much as you now. It's different measurement scales.
Yeah.
But I honestly think people should give it a second chance, because I feel like most people have seen it. They just either were not thinking too hard while they were watching it, or they let themselves influence by other people. But I really think people should watch it again and understand that it's more than just a Superman film. It's like an immigrant film. It talks about other things. And if you see it from that perspective, it's a fucking great movie.
Yeah, give it another shot.
Look,
yes,
Elia did, and look at them now. Look at them now.
Look at me now. A huge Superman fan. Well, I mean, I was always a Superman fan.
Yeah.
But I like this movie now. Yeah, similar to Rea, I recommend this to anyone who is interested in comic book movies, especially if you want like a different take on like the superhero genre. It's nice to have a variety to choose from. And if you are the type of person who enjoys speculative fiction that deals with real world consequences, and if you like social political commentary, like this movie is definitely for you. And also, if you think Superman is a boring superhero because he is overpowered and doesn't struggle with any problems and seems very plain to you, I really want you to watch this, just so your perspective hopefully shifts.
So you can eat your words.
Stop, Rhea. I can't tell you how many people are like, so who's your favorite superhero? And I'm like, Superman. And then they're like, oh, he's kind of boring. And I'm like,
You're boring.
This to me. Don't say this to me. I know that he's overpowered, but that's not what makes him interesting. It's because he's overpowered that makes him interesting, actually.
Cowards.
Like, there's so much to, like, there's so many layers with that.
They're wrong. That's all I know.
They can have different opinions, it's fine,
No, they
but
can't.
I want you to at least give this movie a shot. Hopefully it'll change that opinion a little bit. But yeah, if you have watched this movie, and it's been a while since you've watched it, and you remember not being very impressed by it, I encourage you to watch it again, because it is definitely worth your time. So no listener mail for this episode, but just want to say again, please send us your thoughts, opinions, experiences about our current episode, or literally anything we have talked about, whether it's in our podcast or in our YouTube YouTube videos.
Talk to us about Pokemon, please.
Yeah, give Rea an excuse to talk about Pokemon again.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a while before we even, like, revisit the topic of Pokemon. Yeah. I have no idea when the next Pokemon movie is coming out.
So sad.
But speaking of Pokemon, just a reminder that our first bonus Labyrinth of the Bazaar video is out on YouTube.
Oh.
It's live.
It wasn't live.
It wasn't live, no. It's basically Rea just, like, trashing all of my favorite Pokemon and only complimenting, like, the ones that look emo.
Oh! Okay, no, there's more nuance,
wrong.
But you should watch it so you can
wrong.
Understand the nuance.
No,
I explain why I think Elia's favorites are funny looking.
Like, you didn't even like the fire type Pokemon, which is weird. Charizard just, like, ruined it for you.
That shouldn't have been the first Pokemon.
Let other Pokemon into your heart, bro.
I can't.
Charizard is so
beautiful and the best one to ever exist, and I have him in Pokemon Shield, and he's the only one that I use now.
So mainstream and so over,
are you calling me a local?
And so over, like, hyped by the Pokemon
Thank you
franchise.
for listening to Labyrinth of the Bazaar.
So anyway, you can check out that YouTube video on the Golden Liar YouTube channel, which will be in the show notes.
He's not overrated to me yet because I just met him. So.
But, like, Rea, you can like Charizard and also like the other Pokemon.
No, I can't.
You can like more Pokemon.
No, I can't. Yes, I can. I have other favorite Pokemon. And if you want to know,
whatever,
talk to us. Send us listener mail.
True. Tell us your favorite. Actually, hey, if you disagreed with what Rea said in that YouTube video, please send me listener mail so that I can, like, trash Rea together.
Yeah, do it. I will fight you on this. Thank you for listening to Labyrinth of the Bazaar. You can listen to Labyrinth anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can watch Man of Steel on HBO Max and any rental platform, but you shouldn't do Amazon.
Yeah, fuck Amazon.
Fuck Amazon. You can send us listener mail.
Wait. But if Amazon is
you're only
accessible to you,
yes, of course,
you are excused. But
of course,
if you have other resources, fuck Amazon. That's the agenda.
You can send us listener mail at goldenlyres@gmail.com. That's golden LYRES @gmail.com. Or our Twitter, which is @labyrinthpod. Follow us on there for updates and behind-the-scenes content. Show your support for our podcast by rating us on Apple Podcasts or just letting people know about us on social media. And share with your friends.
Share with your friends. Yeah, share with your friends at, like... Okay, I was going to say parties, but you should not be going to parties. Never mind. No. Unless everyone's fully vaccinated and it's not fully populated, then it's, like, a safe party.
Mm-hmm. Labyrinth of the Bazaar recognizes that we live and work on stolen land. Elia and Rea record in different areas of California, specifically the territories of the Ramaytush and the Yokuts peoples. Thank you for listening to Labyrinth of the Bazaar. Until next time, say it, Elia.
Bye. Take care of yourself. Drink some water.
Say it.
Flush.
Say it.
What?
Say it. Say it.
Say what?
Say it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm saying my closing statement.
Toodles.
I'm not saying that. Take care of yourself, drink some water, floss your teeth.
Play Pokemon.
I am
and share screenshots with me.
A huge advocate for flossing your teeth now. Because I had a cavity.
Oh my god.
My first cavity. It's so devastating. Please floss your teeth if you can.
Pokemon. Bye.